Welcome back. Parliamentary Representative for Choiseul Bradley Felix says he pays little interest to the recent squabbles of the opposition St. Lucia Labour Party within the constituency. Felix believes it was imminent that the Choiseul seat would be heavily sought after following the success of its communities and its people.
I will not focus on what's happening with the opposition. But maybe the reason why there is so much excitement in terms of different people wanting to vie for the Choiseul seat is I think they want to ride on the wave that we currently have set as it relates to development in Choiseul. But that is the opposition's affairs. I am focusing on continuing to do what I have to do for the community.
Felix believes that rumors circulating that his constituents are dissatisfied with his representation are simple politicking.
I don't think that is a fact at all. Obviously, that's maybe what the tune that the opposition will sing, but on the ground, I think the facts say otherwise.
He says he is focused on the needs and the challenges of his constituents. As we approach the next general elections, constituents from around the island have begun passing their judgment on the success of their various MPs. Today, the MPs were given the opportunity to assess their own performance after 4 years in office.
Today, we asked the island's MPs, are you satisfied with your work in the constituency during your current tenure? Here's what they had to say.
I am. From an infrastructural perspective, what we've been able to achieve, but the biggest achievement really is the jobs that we're creating in the South. And so right now, you're talking about the water project, which is over $70 million. The expansion at the airport, the St. Jude's project, the project we're going to be doing at Sandy Beach. Wasco is building their offices over there. Heineken Refinery is also expanding. And most recently, 1,300 new jobs in the call center. So that means that young people in the South don't have to leave the South to come to the North to get a job. And so this is really the beginning of a fundamental change in the South, and I'm very happy and very encouraged by the support that they've been giving me.
If on the 7th of July and 7th of June 2016, anybody had told you that there would have been people running over to run for us, would you believe them? You must understand, on the 7th of June, we lost an election. Every one of us got less votes. In my constituency, my own situation, I lost 300 votes. In all the constituencies, we lost votes. And look at where we are today. We've done a lot of work, and the people have understood the work that we're doing.
I'm extremely satisfied. I've done quite a bit. Infrastructure development, in housing the poor, and community development, constituency development programs. I'm quite satisfied.
There's always more to be done. Have we done a lot of work? Yes, we have, but there's more to be done.
You could always do more. There's always room to do more. But within the resources that were provided and in terms of the various projects that I promised, I am very satisfied in what I have been able to achieve in 4 years. I usually compare to what I have seen done in the past, and I think that in terms of what I have done in the community, far outweighs what has been done in the recent past.
I think I've done what I could with the resources that I have. I mean, it's now for you to go back to constituents, how they feel and how they will rate me.
And that's what they had to say. I guess it's evident that the final grading should be left to their constituents. For at 7 TV, I am Jacka Wooding. Now back to you, Lovely.
Castries Southeast hopeful Joachim Henry took to the virtual platform on Sunday and made a call for greater support for parents ahead of the reopening of school. He says no parent should have to foot the hefty bill for school books for the upcoming school year. The government's senior communications officer has assured that there is assistance on the way. SLP Castries Southeast hopeful Joachim Henry says as the former head of the SSDF, he saw firsthand the need that exists ahead of the return to school. Given the present economic realities due to the COVID-19 pandemic, he says the government should step in to offer more assistance to parents ahead of the reopening of school in September.
Back then, when things were better, they could not have provided the books. They came to the SSDF for help. And today, when things are worse, I'm expecting you to give up the road. And honestly, if I was in a cabinet, I would ask the government of St. Lucia this year, COVID-19, to provide all books to children free. This is what I would be arguing. It is a year when parents ought not to have the issue of buying books. Because we know back then they could not have come up with the books. But instead of giving them books free, you add the laptops that they used to get free.
His sentiments were echoed by Castries South MP Dr. Ernest Hilaire, who took it a step further by stating that an SLP government would have waived school fees and provided laptops to every child.
You see, as St. Lucia Labour Party, by now, would have ordered laptops and tablets for every single school child in St. Lucia. Every single one. There is no way we would have spent money instead on roads and projects that are not needed at this time when our children cannot get devices for online learning. That's wrong. As St. Lucia Labour Party would have waived all school fees right now. No parent should be asked to pay any school fees for the upcoming school year. Cannot ask. There are too many parents that have lost their jobs, and those that used to hustle a living do not now have any means to earn a living. Why should they be paying school fees for this year? A Labour Party would have waived it.
The government's senior communications officer, Nicole MacDonald, spoke to Hot 7 TV on Tuesday and indicated that there will be additional support for parents ahead of the reopening of school.
I know the Ministry of Education is working on a plan to support parents even more, especially in terms of the purchasing of items for school. So very soon the Ministry of Education will be making certain announcements with regard to providing even more support in terms of uniforms, in terms of books, in terms of those other supplies. We're also moving more into technology. As you notice, COVID-19 is really forcing us to move into the school of the future. What does the school of the future, which the Prime Minister has been speaking about for some time, what does it look like? So it means that we have to ensure that the devices that we give are supported by the books and the programs, and that the teachers have been trained in order to use those devices. We have already given out thousands of ebooks. I know that there is a plan by the Ministry of Education to give out even more ebooks, hopefully right before September, so students have those in hand.
According to the Ministry of Education, schools are expected to reopen in September, but the situation is being monitored closely given that the COVID-19 pandemic continues. An impromptu carnival event spilled out into the streets of Soufrière on Tuesday, the 21st of July. What would have been Carnival Day 2 here in St. Lucia if not for COVID-19. Although there were no intricate costumes or carnival bands, it would appear that participants got a good fix for their carnival tabanka.
Super Carnival, we mad.
As residents of Soufrière took to the streets on July 21st, drinks in hand, it was clear that the spirit of Carnival lives far beyond the bounds of the glitter and feathers of Carnival costumes. The impromptu event saw residents burst into the streets in a parade of music and dance as they paid tribute to what would have been Day 2 of National Carnival. What began as a small group of people soon became a unified movement of the community, bringing together residents of all ages chipping on the Soufrière waterfront. And as the length of the route grew, so did the crowd. Though Carnival 2020 was not realized in its full glory, the anticipated event surely did not pass quietly. There has been concern about people becoming too lax, given that St. Lucia has no community spread of COVID-19. Authorities have cautioned that mass crowd events are still not permitted, but many say that the small pockets of festivities are deemed safe by participants and that the distance is being maintained. Jacka Wooding, Hot 7 News.
This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Stay with us when we come back. Carnival highlights and your weather report.